Imagine you're the CEO of Ford. You have over 100 years of experience, factories on multiple continents, more than 170,000 employees, billions of dollars to invest. Now imagine watching a company that almost went bankrupt in 2008, beat you anyway. That's exactly what happened. It wasn't just Ford. General Motors couldn't stop Tesla. Volkswagen couldn't stop Tesla. Toyota couldn't stop Tesla. Mercedes couldn't stop Tesla. They all built electric cars. They all spent billions. They all hired thousands of engineers. And somehow, Tesla kept pulling further ahead. Most people think they know why. Batteries? Wrong. Elon Musk? Not exactly. Better technology? Still wrong. The real answer is something almost nobody talks about. And once you see it, you'll understand why copying Tesla isn't just difficult. It may already be impossible, because while everyone thought Tesla was building better cars, it was secretly playing an entirely different game. For years, the entire auto industry believed Tesla's biggest advantage was its battery. That sounded reasonable. Tesla's cars had longer range. They accelerated faster. Customers loved them. So competitors came to one simple conclusion: build better batteries, and you'll beat Tesla. Billions of dollars poured into battery research. New factories appeared around the world. Governments offered huge subsidies. Every major automaker announced ambitious electric vehicle plans. On paper, everything looked perfect, but something strange happened. The more competitors invested, the further Tesla pulled ahead. It made no sense. How could companies with larger budgets, more factories, and decades of manufacturing experience still lose? Because they were solving the wrong problem. Tesla's battery was never the real advantage. It was only the visible part of something much bigger. Imagine trying to copy an iceberg. Most people only see the part above the water. The real structure is hidden underneath. Tesla worked exactly the same way. Everyone focused on the car. Nobody paid attention to the system behind it. While competitors celebrated launching one new electric model, Tesla was improving thousands of things at the same time: battery production, software, manufacturing, supply chains, charging infrastructure, even the way customers bought their cars. Every improvement made every other part stronger. That wasn't a product, it was an ecosystem, and ecosystems are much harder to copy than products. By the time traditional automakers realized that, Tesla had already spent years building a lead that couldn't simply be purchased. But even that wasn't the company's biggest advantage, because Tesla possessed something far more valuable than batteries, something every competitor desperately wanted, and almost none of them had enough of: data. Every Tesla on the road was doing something most drivers never even noticed. It was learning. Every trip, every highway, every traffic jam, every sharp turn, every sudden stop. Millions of Teslas were constantly collecting real-world driving information. Not inside a laboratory, not on a closed test track, but in the real world, day after day, year after year. Imagine trying to teach two students. One studies for 2 hours every day. The other studies 24 hours a day across millions of classrooms at the same time. Who learns faster? That's exactly what Tesla created. Every new car made the entire system smarter. Every mile helped improve future software. Every update made the next update even better. This created a powerful cycle. More cars generated more data. More data improved the software. Better software attracted more customers. More customers bought more cars. And the cycle repeated again. Competitors could build factories, they could hire engineers, they could spend billions on research. But there was one thing they couldn't buy overnight: years of real-world driving experience. By the time traditional automakers realized data had become one of the most valuable assets in the industry, Tesla had already collected billions of miles of information. That advantage couldn't be copied in a single year, or even 5 years. Because data takes time, and time was the one resource Tesla already had. But Elon Musk wasn't satisfied. He knew collecting data alone wouldn't guarantee victory. He needed something that every competitor depended on, yet almost none of them controlled themselves: batteries. By 2014, Tesla had already proven that electric cars could work. But Elon Musk believed the hardest part was still ahead. Building great cars wasn't enough. The real challenge was building millions of them. And there was one problem standing in the way: batteries. Every automaker wanted more battery cells. The entire industry depended on outside suppliers. If suppliers couldn't keep up, production stopped. It didn't matter how many customers wanted your cars, you simply couldn't build them. Most companies accepted that reality. Elon Musk refused to. Instead of waiting for suppliers to solve the problem, he decided Tesla would solve it first. The plan shocked Wall Street. Tesla would spend billions of dollars building one of the largest battery factories the world had ever seen. The Gigafactory. Critics immediately attacked the idea. The company wasn't consistently profitable. Its future was still uncertain. Many analysts argued Tesla was expanding far too fast. Some predicted the project would become one of the biggest financial disasters in automotive history. From the outside, their criticism sounded reasonable. Why risk billions of dollars before demand for electric cars was fully proven? But Elon wasn't building for today's market. He was building for the market that didn't exist yet. He believed that one day every major automaker would need massive numbers of batteries. And when that day arrived, the companies that controlled battery production would control the future. Most people thought he was taking an unnecessary risk. In reality, he was buying time. Years later, as demand for electric vehicles exploded, Tesla wasn't scrambling to secure battery supplies. It was already producing them at an enormous scale. While competitors waited, Tesla kept building. While competitors negotiated, Tesla kept expanding. Once again, the advantage wasn't just the factory, it was the years of preparation behind it. And that's when something incredible happened. People finally realized Tesla wasn't reacting to the future. It had been building it all along. But even Gigafactories weren't the company's greatest weapon. Because Tesla had one advantage that no factory, no battery, and no amount of money could ever create: a completely different way of thinking. By now, every major automaker understood what Tesla had built. They had electric cars, they had battery factories, they had software teams, they had billions of dollars to invest. Yet somehow, they were still falling behind. Why? Because they were trying to copy Tesla's products instead of Tesla's philosophy. Traditional automakers asked one simple question: how do we improve the cars we already make? Elon Musk asked a completely different question. If cars didn't exist today, how would we build transportation from scratch? That single question changed everything. Tesla wasn't limited by decades of old habits. It wasn't protecting a 100-year-old business model. It wasn't afraid to replace its own ideas. While legacy automakers optimized yesterday, Tesla kept reinventing tomorrow. Sometimes those decisions failed. Production deadlines were missed. New factories struggled. Critics attacked Elon almost every year. But failure inside Tesla wasn't treated as the end. It was treated as data. Every mistake became another lesson. Every problem became another improvement. That culture moved the company faster than anyone expected. Large corporations usually avoid mistakes because mistakes are expensive. Tesla accepted mistakes because standing still was even more expensive. That difference became one of its greatest competitive advantages. While other companies spent months discussing one decision, Tesla was already testing the next one. Speed became part of the company's DNA, and over time, speed became something money couldn't buy. But perhaps the biggest misunderstanding about Tesla still remained. Because people believed Tesla was competing against Ford, against Toyota, against Volkswagen. In reality, Tesla was competing against time itself. Most companies build products for today's customers. Tesla built products for tomorrow's world. That's why so many of Elon's decisions looked completely irrational at the time. Spending billions on gigafactories, building thousands of superchargers before there were enough Teslas to use them, investing heavily in self-driving technology years before regulators were ready. None of those decisions made sense if you only looked at the next quarter. But Elon wasn't trying to win the next quarter. He was trying to win the next decade. That's a very different game. Traditional automakers waited until demand became obvious. Tesla built the infrastructure before demand even existed. By the time everyone else realized electric vehicles were the future, Tesla had already spent years preparing for it. That's the hidden advantage most people never talk about. Success wasn't created in the year Tesla became popular. It was created years earlier when almost nobody believed the company would survive. Every difficult decision, every risky investment, every criticism, every near bankruptcy. They weren't separate events. They were all part of one long-term strategy. While competitors reacted to change, Tesla tried to create it. That's why it always seemed to be one step ahead. The company wasn't predicting the future. It was actively building it. And once you understand that, you begin to realize something surprising. Tesla's biggest competitor was never Ford. It was never Toyota. It wasn't even Volkswagen. Tesla's biggest competitor was the speed at which the rest of the world could change. And that may be the biggest lesson Elon Musk has ever taught the business world. But one question still remains. Was Tesla's success really inevitable? Or did the entire industry make one mistake that changed everything forever? Here's the irony. The biggest car companies in the world didn't lose because they lacked money. They didn't lose because they lacked engineers. And they certainly didn't lose because they lacked experience. They lost because they underestimated one small startup. For years, Tesla wasn't seen as a real threat. Executives believed electric cars would remain a niche market. They believed customers would always prefer gasoline vehicles. They believed they still had plenty of time. But markets don't wait for companies to feel ready. By the time legacy automakers finally realized the world was changing, Tesla had already built a lead that couldn't easily be erased. It had the factories, the charging network, the software, the brand, the loyal customers, and perhaps most importantly, it had momentum. Momentum is one of the most powerful forces in business. Once a company starts moving faster than everyone else, catching it becomes incredibly difficult. Every success creates another opportunity. Every new customer attracts another customer. Every improvement makes the next improvement easier. Tesla entered that cycle years before anyone else. And while competitors were trying to catch today's Tesla, Tesla was already building tomorrow's version of itself. That's why the gap never seemed to disappear. It kept getting bigger. The real competition had ended long before most people realized it had even begun. And that's what makes Tesla's story so fascinating. It isn't really a story about electric cars. It's a story about seeing the future earlier than everyone else, and having the courage to build it while the rest of the world was still laughing. Which brings us to one final lesson, and it may be the most important lesson of all. Today, almost every major automaker has an electric vehicle strategy. Ford has one. General Motors has one. Volkswagen has one. BMW has one. Mercedes has one. Toyota is investing billions. The entire industry is moving in the same direction. But here's what's remarkable. None of them wanted to move this quickly. Tesla forced them to. One company changed the strategy of an entire industry that had operated the same way for more than 100 years. That's incredibly rare in business history. Most startups fight just to survive. Tesla survived, then forced some of the largest corporations on Earth to completely rethink their future. Think about that for a moment. A company that nearly ran out of money in 2008 eventually influenced businesses worth trillions of dollars. That's the real legacy of Tesla. Not the Model S, not the Model 3, not even the Cybertruck. Tesla proved that a small company with a radically different vision could change an industry that once looked impossible to disrupt. Whether Tesla remains the world's largest electric car company forever is impossible to know. Competition is becoming stronger every year. Technology keeps evolving. New companies will appear, new breakthroughs will happen. That's how innovation works. But one thing has already become impossible to erase. Before Tesla, electric cars were seen as a compromise. After Tesla, they became the future. And perhaps that's the company's greatest achievement. It didn't simply build better cars, it changed what people expected from every car. And that's something no competitor can ever take away. So, why can't the world's biggest automakers catch Tesla? It isn't because they don't have enough money. It isn't because they don't have enough engineers. And it certainly isn't because they don't know how to build electric cars. The real difference is much simpler. Tesla spent years building the future while everyone else spent those same years protecting the past. That's the lesson hidden inside this entire story. Most companies wait until change becomes obvious. The greatest companies create that change themselves. Back in 2008, Tesla was fighting just to survive. Most people believed it would disappear within a few years. Today, the same company has forced an entire industry to reinvent itself. Not because it was the biggest, not because it was the richest, but because it was willing to think differently long before everyone else. Whether you love Elon Musk or disagree with him, one fact is impossible to ignore. Tesla didn't just build successful electric cars, it permanently changed the direction of the automotive industry. And perhaps that's the real reason nobody has truly caught up. They copied Tesla's products. They copied Tesla's batteries. They copied Tesla's software. But they never copied the mindset that created all of it in the first place. So here's my question for you. Do you think another company will eventually overtake Tesla, or will Tesla remain the company everyone else keeps chasing for the next decade? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. And in the next episode, we'll uncover the unbelievable story of SpaceX, the company that survived 3 rocket explosions, came within weeks of collapse, and somehow became the most valuable space company in history. Trust me, that story is even crazier.